So welcome back. Once again, Jason Rosemergy, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing with Terso Solutions, and Ross MacGregor, Vice President of Business Development for TrackCore, talking about automation of inventory practices in the healthcare supply chain, some of the trends, some of the industry problems, and kind of some of the future states. So I think in our last segment, we talked kind of broad brush about some things that were happening in the burdens that were being placed around current manual practices. And in this segment, we'll focus a little more on some of those impacts and also some of the future state trends and how you've seen, Ross, the growth of the technology as specific end user providers are implementing the technology and maybe how that's mushrooming out a little bit in certain applications. So starting at the top, I think, talking about, again, how RFID or really not necessarily just RFID, but an integrated solution with RFID to TrackCore's platform is easing some of the burdens that providers are facing today.
Yeah, so as stated previously, Jason, the Joint Commission, FDA and other deeming authorities really have made it very challenging for hospitals to be compliant and also be able to maintain real-time inventory visibility and all these critical pain points that are in place today when they have manual forms. And that is why our partnership with Terso Solution is so important to us to be able to offer secured inventories for cabinets, refrigerators, and freezers down to the deep frozen, minus 80, to be able to automate inventory. So, for example, the Joint Commission is looking for full chain of custody tracking, and that starts at the loading dock and every touch point until that product is used, whether it's implanted, whether it's disposed, shipped out. You need to document every touch point, and the responsible person, the staff that are the items that are actually being removed from inventory, and a lot of those validation checks that we had talked about in the previous segment. Yep. And so with the use of RFID, essentially what this is providing to our customers is really being able to eliminate any of this manual, validation checks, providing real-time inventory visibility for their tissue and non-biologic items.
So let's put we've all talked a lot about COVID and kind of lived in this COVID world for the last couple of years. Talk about how the impact of that, maybe specifically around labor or supply chain focus, has impacted your business and how inventory is being viewed in the supply chain.
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question because I'll tell you, here at TrackCore, the need for a solution like TrackCore and automated inventory has never been more important. So during the COVID pandemic, the significant supply chain disruptions and staffing shortages have made it even more important just to have real-time inventory visibility, to have accurate reorder points to make sure that when it's time to reorder, and being able to eliminate any type of wasted or disposed type of items. So it is more important than ever to have secured storage. And with the use of RFID, it has no staff, reliance on to document the right thing. So you will know anytime an item is in storage, when an item is out of storage, to know if there's any, recall notifications. So yeah, during the last, several years during this pandemic, it has been more important than ever.
Yeah, we're hearing the same thing. Just in general, labor shortages, right? Hiring people to do these things, their availability is tough. So I think providers, are leaning more into technology to at least as a constant, right? Then you don't have to worry about turnover or recruitment or hiring some people doing these jobs that maybe were more plentiful in the past.
Yep, that's exactly right. And we expect that trend to continue, and to see no end in sight there.
We'll talk more about some of your implementations across the country and the results that have happened for your customers, and really how you've grown as an organization and gaining that ROI and providing that ROI for your customers.
Sure. So yeah, our partnership, we talk about the growth, specifically with Terso, dated back to 2014.
Yeah.
As an organization, we're evaluating solutions and really automated inventory offerings for our customers to provide, security and inventory control. So it actually dates back to 2014 when we first began offering. And actually very recently, at the end of 2021, surpassed over 500 RFID units in the marketplace. So I think that really tells the story. That type of milestone, that type of success shows that our partnership and integrated solutions are delivering exactly what we had intended, exactly what our customers are requesting for, and that is, providing more inventory visibility and, automating and eliminating a lot of this, critical pain points that they experience with manual tracking forms. And one of the areas that we have seen growth in is that our customers may start off with a very specific, what I'll say, temperature range. Maybe they want to focus on cold chain, or we have some customers that maybe want to focus on their, higher volume items in the ambient space. Our customers are looking to standardize that practice with RFID because of the operational efficiencies that they're experiencing, the ROI, like you referenced there, Jason, that they have. And that is from, it could be FTE savings, reduce obsolescence, knowing what is on hand. So our customers may be starting for a very, small subset of RFID, but they are expanding and willing to invest in the capital dollars to create that standardized workflow for implants across the OR and other departments.
That's great. Yeah, and I agree. We, back in the day, it was maybe a cabinet and a freezer connected to your platform to track some real critical inventory, and then over time, other procedural areas that have the same needs for visibility and automation are diving in, and we're kind of seeing almost a second wave in a lot of instances of hospitals that continue to expand the platform into these other areas. So it's really neat to see kind of that automation, broadening within a provider space, for sure. Maybe talk a little bit about the future. So, how do you see this whole idea of automation and the RFID and software working together to impact acute care facilities, and how are you as TrackCore poised to address some of that?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question because certainly technology is the trend in healthcare, and that has been the trend here at TrackCore as well. So healthcare providers are continually looking for cutting edge technologies to be able to automate their entire supply chain spectrum. So again, that is why our partnership with Tersos is so important, to be able to use the UHF technology, and also the integrations that we had referenced earlier with the EHRs are so important to us. But where we're seeing growth is really outside of the non-tissue tracking requirements. So we have our customers continually coming to us for similar software solutions and applications for non-tissue items. So it could be non-biologic products, explants, consignment items, bill-only items, and that continues to increase during the COVID pandemic as well. And so that is where we're seeing continued growth. And for example, our government VA customers is one area that we have seen really be on the front end of automating the solution across the hospital. So we have our VA customers implementing, for example, the TrackCore software, the RFID enclosures across all departments. And that could be the OR, cath lab, EP, IR labs, wound clinics, podiatry, dental clinics. So really just across the entire hospital setting and supply chain, frankly, that they are able to experience this type of process and standardization that from a TrackCore perspective, we really see RFID and TrackCore as best practice. You're eliminating staff reliance. Everything is done through a simple proximity badge. So again, that is where we see continued growth. Additionally, one of the areas that we have seen in terms of, during the pandemic with the increase of bill-only and consignment products is around the need for automating some of the PO processing of items. So that typically is for vendors that are bringing in items the day of surgery. So we also have a solution that will even automate that process even further. So similar to the tissue and implant tracking process, where it's very manual, labor intensive. In this workflow, often that vendor rep is handling handing a piece of paper to the nurse to say, hey, this is what was used, confirm, and time to pay me. But that is a very challenging process as well that requires materials review, that is often prone to errors in terms of pricing discrepancies, quantities used, duplicate payments. So again, in terms of the automation of inventory, we are really seeing this in all departments and workflows well outside of the tissue and biologic tracking world.
Yeah, it's really just an evolution of kind of what needs to happen, right? Beyond manual process, and really getting to that exchange of data between systems and making it easier on, nurses to provide patient care, materials management staff to do what they need to do, and really just easing the burden of some of these critical business problems that you point out. I want to thank you, Ross, for joining us today and talking a little bit about your experience through our partnership and at your end customer and provider customer implementations, and congratulations on the growth of your business, and thank you for your partnership with Terso. Much appreciated.
Absolutely. Yeah, thanks, Jason. Appreciate the time today.
All right, talk to you soon. Thank you.